everyone, welcome to the channel again. So in the last video we studied about Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Before that we were studying about Wordsworth, and we can conclude that we are studying about the Romantic age and Romantic critics. So Coleridge gave us primary imagination, secondary imagination, fancy, willing suspension of disbelief. He told us that how there must be an essential difference between the language of prose and the language of poetry, how he had some of the disagreement with William Wordsworth, how he gave us the definition of poem and the poet, and how he told us that you can't just rely on the language of the rustic life. So these were overall the structure, these were overall the few concepts which were given by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Now in this video we are going to study about John Keats. Before moving forward, before talking about what does he have to say, let us just see that what is his life look like. So he was born in 1795. He had his life full of loss from the starting, because he lost his father when he was 8, he lost his mother when he was 14, and he himself died when he was 25. In the year 1821, he was trained as a surgeon, yet he diagnosed with tuberculosis and he died. So in the age of 25, he didn't just write anything which was having much influence. Like he did wrote in 1819 some of the odes, 6 odes, which were Ode on a Grecian Urn, Ode to Nightingale, Ode to Autumn, Ode to Psyche, Ode to Melancholy, and there is one more. Okay. So he did write odes, but he did write many of the works as well, but we didn't get anything from these things regarding literary criticism. These things about poet, poem, and how a thing should be, it is all in the letters which were written to his beloved, to his friends, to his family, something like that. So we get to know about these things through his letters, whatever we are going to study about John Keats today in this video. So the first thing which we are going to study is negative capability. So what is negative capability? It is the ability to remain in uncertainties without any irritable reaching after fact and treasure. Now what does this mean? For example, if a poet is about to write anything and he just thinks and he comes across with something which he finds that he is not getting understood. So what does he usually do? He tries to find out that what exactly is this thing. How am I not able to understand this? That is the irritable reaching to go after fact and treasure. Now, according to John Keats, he says that a poet must have the capability to remain in uncertainties. And then just with remaining in that uncertainties, he must have the ability to pursue his things, to write the things which he is about to write. That is negative capability according to John Keats. And it is a very important feature according to John Keats that must be in a poet. Now moving forward, John Keats was very inspired by William Wordsworth, and he also thought that William Wordsworth was one of the writer which English literature has produced, because he shaped Romanticism. From Wordsworth we get to see that the new age started, Romanticism. But John Keats himself disagreed with few of the things about Wordsworth. He says that if you see closely, if you analyze closely the works of Wordsworth, you will get to know that it is always about the Wordsworth. It is always about his ideas, that what is he feeling, from which things does he getting inspired, what is he surrounding with. It is all about Wordsworth in his poetries. That, according to John Keats, is egotistical sublime. Egotistical sublime is something which, for example, a poet is writing anything. Okay, he is writing about some other person, he is writing about shepherd, he is writing about grass, he is writing about the nature. So if a poet is feeding his own emotions, his own things, his own perspective on that character, that is egotistical sublime. And John Keats thinks that this is the exact thing which Wordsworth was doing when he was talking about nature. He was telling each and everything about himself, that this must be in the nature. This is how nature should be. Because his whole life was surrounded around the nature. He lived in the Lake District of England. Now, John Keats says that a true poet must be like a chameleon poet. Now, what does that mean? If you know a chameleon, it changes its color according to the environment it sits upon. John Keats says that if a poet is about to write about anything, if a poet is about to write about a shepherd, then he must think about the shepherd. He must think the life around him like a shepherd. It does not, the poet must not add his own intention, his own experience in the life of shepherd. That is a true chameleon poet, and that is the true identity of a poet, to let the things live on their own, and do not just push your own things, own feelings, own perception on that character. If a character is belonging to the common man, the common hierarchy, then he must speak according to the common people. If a writer is belonging to the higher class and he is writing about the common people, then it should not reflect that the writer, the whole work has been written by a person who is belonging to the higher category. No, it should feel like that the person who is speaking is really belonging to the common class. That is a chameleon poet, and according to John Keats, that is the true identity of a poet. Now moving forward, the next concept which John Keats talk about is beauty and truth. So John Keats wrote 6 odes, in which one of the odes was Ode on a Grecian Urn. In that one line appears that beauty is truth and truth is beauty. And that is all you need to know on the earth. Somehow, somewhere near about, this is the line that beauty is truth and truth is beauty. Now, what does he try to say through these lines? So till now, when we were studying about Horace, Dryden, Sidney, Alexander Pope, Wordsworth, they were telling here or there, they were telling that it should have some moral purpose, it should instruct people, it should delight people, it should move people to become the virtuous people, virtuous being, or it should have something which, the last person which we studied, it told us that how it should have the ability to let us endure our pain and live and enjoy our life. These were all the sayings of the critics which we have studied till now. Now, John Keats has a say on it. He says that, okay, I agree with all these things, that these are also important things, but what is more important is how you feel when you hear something. For example, when you hear a lie, somewhere deep down inside your heart, you know that this doesn't just sit right. This is not right. This is not true. I know it inside my heart. I don't have the proof, but I can have the feeling that this is not true. This is false. But at the same time, when you hear something which is true, you genuinely feel the emotions with which the person is telling, and you can tell that this is the truth. When you hear the truth, you feel that this is the beauty. And when something is true enough, that is bound to be beautiful. So here, beauty is truth and truth is beauty, according to John Keats. And it is the most important aspect of a poetry and a poet. The next point is sensual qualities of poetry. Now, John Keats himself used such type of imagery in his odes that you feel that you are feeling the warmth, the loudness, the cry, the laughter, the all essence which can enhance your senses. You hear, feel, touch. Whenever he is talking about something, if he is talking about any leaf, you will feel that you are actually touching that leaf. That is the essence, that is the sense with which John Keats is writing. And he tells that whatever a poet is writing, whatever poetry he is writing, he must have sensuous qualities. It must have that characteristics, which makes people feel that they are actually living the thing that has been described in the poetry. Other than that, that thing have no essence. For example, if you are about to read about the nature, then you must feel that you are standing in a meadow and you are walking through the grass. You must feel each and everything that the poet is describing. That is the power of sensuous imageries. So, over and all, he talks about that how it must engage with the physical as well as emotional, as well as intellectual and mentally as well. All these things should associate with all these things all at the same time. Only then you can see that these are the true things which you can experience in this life. That is the purpose of poetry. So the main concept, if you see John Keats, then he has been associated with Hellenism. Hellenism is beauty. Okay. So John Keats is known for the beauty. His concept that beauty is truth and truth is beauty. That is enough. With this concept, he is known. And that is it about John Keats for today. And then in the next video, we are going to study about P.V. Shelley. See you there.